Well, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Lori, your host of It's Time for More Injury Finding podcast. Very nice to see you all and hear you all again. Today, we have a very special guest with us. Today, it's Kristen Pitts with KP Law Group BC. I want to tell you a little bit about Kristen. Besides being a family partner of her firm, Kristen is a mother, friend, daughter, award-winning attorney, mediator, and an active member of the community. Today, attorney Kristen will share with us her experience with dog bites and slip and falls throughout the state of Georgia, in addition to car accidents. Attorney Ms. Pitts has experience in wrongful death cases and has a passion for ensuring equal access to a quality representation to everyone who has experienced a life-altering injury, no matter how big or small. Kristen ensures that all her clients are treated as an extension of her family. Kristen has seen firsthand how gruesome and life-changing those effects of a dog bite can be to a person. Ms. Pitt's personal life experience has a direct effect on how she helps her clients who've been injured by dog bites, really. You, my dear listeners and viewers, you are for a treat today. So we, with Kristen's 17 years of experience, I'm sure we'll hear some good stories here. But we're going to look briefly today. We'll make a short and sweet podcast, and we'll have a couple questions to Kristen. So let's just jump into it. So Kristen, who is responsible when you get bitten by a dog?
Well, that's a great question, Laura. Because I think a lot of folks don't even think about, causes of action if they get bitten by dogs. So if you get bitten by a dog at someone's home, the homeowner is actually typically responsible for the dog bite. If they own the home, then you want to make a claim with their homeowner's insurance. And also the law is a little bit tricky if they do not own the home, though, if they're renting the home. But there are certain situations where the owner of the home is still liable. Perhaps if they know that the dog is there and know that the dog is, has vicious tendencies or has bitten someone before. But long story short, if you get bitten by someone's dog, and they own their home, then the homeowner is actually responsible for their dog's actions.
I see. What happens? Quick question. Let's say the dog was never malicious, just really well behaved, and it just all of a sudden, I don't know, at the age of 5, one day he just bites a little child. What do we do then? Then is the owner still responsible for the dog?
That's another great question. And it does actually vary from county to county and city to city. There are ordinances that pertain to each individual county or city with regard to exactly what is required of a dog owner for their dog. There are several counties that require that the dog be on a leash. That's what we call a leash law. Exactly, right? If the dog is not on a leash, then the ordinance automatically states that the dog owner is liable for any negligence pertaining to the dog, even if the dog has never bitten anybody before, or never had any vicious tendencies or things like that before. Also, there are some counties or city ordinances that require that the dog be what we call at heel or under your control or command. So even if they're not on a leash, sometimes if they're not under your control or under your command, then also liable. And that is strict liability under an ordinance or guideline from a city or county. So.
Interesting. So let's say I know you've been practicing this for so many years, so you're very familiar with the terms. But what about if you meet somebody who does only trucking law? And if you say it's a leash law or a heel law, would they be familiar with those terms?
Well, they should be.
Okay.
But I was like, they should be, but a lot of times they're not. So to answer your question, it is probably a good idea to consult with an attorney who has experience in this particular area of law. It is different from a trucking case or a general automobile accident case or any other area of injury and liability, because there are some specialized rules and things that need to be adhered to. There is research sometimes that has to be done with regard to determining who the actual owner of the property is and all those sorts of things. And so it is probably a better idea to go with someone who has experience in the area. to get the best result.
Awesome. Thank you. I had no idea. And so that kind of leads us, and you'll probably almost answer the question, but let me ask maybe, you want to add to that question. What are the responsibilities of a dog owner besides having the dog on the leash in public?
Another great question. So a dog owner is responsible for making sure that their dog doesn't cause injury to anyone else. And so again, if you know that your dog is, a vicious or malicious dog, has bitten someone before, that sort of thing, you want to make sure if you have guests in your home, that you keep the dog away from your guests, because if the dog, gets out of the room and, the dog has, bitten someone before or something like that, then, you are, thought to have known that this could have occurred with your dog. Also, even if your dog, depending on what the ordinance is, hasn't ever bitten anyone, and gets free or loose, say for instance, the mailman or someone comes to your door, or the Amazon delivery person, and your dog is in the house and sprints out and bites the Amazon delivery person. There may be some liability there. So you basically are just responsible for making sure that your dog is under control.
I like that. Okay. Now, I have this scenario. Let's say I have a dog, I have a big backyard, it's very well fenced. I made sure I actually built the fence for my dog, and the dog is happily running around. One day he digs a hole and runs out and bites another person. What about this scenario?
That's a great question and an unfortunate thing, and it happens sometimes. So it just depends. It's one of those things where, you're still responsible for making sure that your dog remains on, your property, and I would say a hole is probably not something that got dug overnight. You're responsible for, maintaining your property and looking around and making sure that your dog isn't digging holes, or that your fence is of an adequate height. If you see your dog is jumping up and he's getting pretty high, he's got hops, it's probably, time to get a new fence, or change the height of your fence. You are ultimately responsible for, your dog.
Okay, so all of us, I guess, pet owners, listen well to Kristen. And one more question, Kristen. What are the common dog bite scenarios that you see? And I'm sure you've seen a lot in different cases.
Sure. We've actually talked about a few of them. Common things that or ways that dog bites occur. Sometimes if you are out walking your dog, and the dog is not on a leash or not at heel, and something just triggers your dog. They might, run up to a child, in the neighborhood, or might, run up to an adult or something like that. And I've seen them just kind of jump on people, attack them, or bite them, just kind of out of nowhere. And a lot of times folks are like, well, my dog is so sweet. My dog has never done anything like this before. But again, depending on the county, or the city that you're in, if they've got a strict leash law that states that, your dog is required to be on a leash or under your control, and you didn't have your dog on a leash while out walking and they attack someone, that's a common scenario where the dog owner may be held liable for injuries caused by the dog. Also, you see, like I said, the Amazon scenario, the dog, runs out of the house, somebody leaves the door open, and the dog runs out and bites the Amazon employee, or or bites someone who's coming up to the house for some other reason, even just a neighbor who's coming up. Interestingly enough, I've had a situation where a neighbor came over and was asking for sugar. And
like in the good old days.
Like in the good old days, I know, exactly. And literally was going to her next door neighbor's house to get some sugar for a recipe that she was cooking, and dog sprinted out and actually attacked her, jumped up and bit her in the face. So, it's one of those things. We love our dogs, we love our pets. We just, but they are sometimes sensitive creatures, and sometimes we don't know what may trigger them. And so in order to best protect, ourselves and our pets, we just want to make sure that they remain under our control at all times.
Thank you. Well, so what about, so we're talking about specifically about dog bites. What about cat, horse, hamster, any other pets?
So that's a good question. So there are specific laws, again, from county to county, that just kind of depend on what the animal is. But if you get attacked by any kind of an animal, there is potentially a liability claim to be had there. We have specific laws as they pertain to dogs, though, because that's kind of the most common thing that we see. But absolutely, if your cat gets out and jumps on someone, causes them injury, then that is something that you can be liable for.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. I have no idea. Good to know. So, God forbid, but if somebody ever gets bitten and they need to call you, Kristen Pitts at KP Law, how can they reach you, Kristen?
Absolutely, and we would be happy to assist. They can reach us either by coming down to our office. We're located at 3344 Peachtree Road. We're in Suite 800 in Atlanta. Also, they can reach us by phone. Our office phone number is 404-441-1155. And lastly, they can reach us on social media. Our website is thekplawgroup.com. We're also on Instagram as KP Law Group and Facebook as KP Law Group. So you can find us in a multitude of ways.
I love it. You can miss Kristen. Awesome. Thank you. And that was very special guest today, Kristen Pitts with the KP Law. Thank you so much. And again, for being, our guest here at the It's Time for More Injury Funding podcast. But before I let you go, Kristen, I have one fun pop-up question. You ready?
Uh-oh, what you got, Laura?
All right, so tell me. Do you have a habit that you've developed over the years of traveling? And I'm sure you travel quite a bit to seminars and everywhere else, with being an attorney, that would allow you to live a life of travel?
Oh, well, I would say the ability to be adaptable, and the ability to be open to new experiences. I am a lifelong learner. I am, always interested in meeting different types of people and, learning new things and having new experiences. So I absolutely think I could live a life of travel. I'm gonna put that on my bucket
Let's
list.
do it. So my dear listeners and viewers will have another podcast in the future, and hopefully, not too long from today, of just about travel. So
Absolutely.
that may be, like profession number 2.
Agreed.
Awesome, I agree. I love it. Thank you so much again. And do you want to add anything? Tell anything else about dog bites, about yourself, about your team?
Well, first, I just want to thank you so much for having me, Laura. You're always such a light. I always love spending time with you. So thank you for having me. But I would just say that myself and my team are always here to assist folks who are in need. It is our passion to actually really assist our clients when they're in their time of need. That's actually the reason why we do this. We treat all of our clients like family. We have a lot of clients who just kind of call us up after the fact and just tell us how life is going. That's what we're interested in doing, and really treating our clients the way that we would want to be treated. And like I said, having ongoing relationships with folks, because we're really invested in the people that we serve.
Wonderful. Yeah, that sense of family is everything we always want. It's hard to find it now.
It's true.
Again, thank you so much, my dear listeners and viewers, to tuning in, listening to It's Time for More Injury Funding. You please follow me on Spotify. Shortly, I'll have additional podcast options for y'all, but Spotify is the one to follow and like today. Pass it on to your family, friends, and come visit Kristen at any time. Even if you just want to chat, give her a call, and we'll go from there. Again, thank you so much, and until then, be well.
Thank you.